have found over the many years of feeding birds that multiple feeders really, it almost exponentially attracts more birds to the garden. And part of the reason is we have 3 different types of feeders here. Here we have a thistle feeder, and here we have a sunflower feeder with a few little peanuts, as you can see here. And then this might be a suet feeder, or we're sticking in some seed pods that the birds can feed on. You know, you really wouldn't think that having all of these feeders, you know, within a 4-foot by 4-foot area would really increase the birds, but it really does, because the birds really don't compete for the different types of seed. Sometimes this will be filled with goldfinches, sometimes this will be filled with cardinals. So don't be afraid to put multiple feeders in a very close proximity in the garden. Think about extending your garden away from the home. A lot of us have homes with just a basic foundation planting, but birds really want to have an area that they can fly to first, and then they'll come up real close to the house where you have all your feeders. And it's not hard to do. We just came out and created some of these flower beds behind me and planted a few shrubs and a few trees, and over a few periods of years, you'll see all what you see behind me, even including ornamental grasses. Now, the thing you're going to notice is I have not pruned my ornamental grasses. I haven't even pruned my seed pods of my plants. It costs us nothing to feed birds all winter long if you leave them in a garden. But if you go out in the garden in August, September, October, and you clean up your garden, you're going to have nothing for the birds. Just think of it as being hiking up in the mountains. You know, nature does not come through. Prune your shrubs, prune your trees, and rake the leaves. We leave it natural. And I've got the best tip coming right up. Winter is a great time of the year to thin out no more than 20% of your trees and shrubs. Just come in and take some of these branches that kind of grow inside, and I've got a great use for these to attract more birds to the garden. For many of us, we'll consider this a pile of brush, but look at it differently. Look at it as a bird habitat. So instead of taking all your prunings and shredding them or taking them to the road to be picked up and gotten rid of, you could actually use them in a garden to accomplish something very good for your birds. The birds love piles of branches. And you know, when I'm saying hundreds and hundreds of birds, I mean, that is reality. And a part of the reason is the birds, like the sparrows and the finches, really, and the juncos, like to be right around the ground or close to the ground. And they look for protection from hawks and cats, and they also need protection from the weather, maybe, you know, an ice storm or a snowstorm. So just take your prunings that you get in your garden and just lay them in piles that you see here. You can lay them right around your bird feeders, and you'll get more and more birds to your garden. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, use the internet to click on the In the Garden website. That's inthegardenradio.com.